Hello, Wright Group friends and family. This is Kim Wright-Sebrell with your December 2022 update. So looking at the November numbers, the close of last month. So looking at median home prices at 349,000. Just to put that in perspective, over the summer prices, the median prices were in the 360s. So we're seeing just a little bit downward trend on the median home prices. Homes for sale, we have 2,659. That is up 33% from the beginning of the year. So good amount of more homes on the market right now. Days on market still hovering right around 8, and that's been the same for about 3 months. We've talked about this past months where, for the past almost 2 years, days on market were kind of right around 5 to 6, but because people were using a strategy of holding their home on the market so multiple buyers could get in, collecting offers, so kind of inflating those days on market, where now that 8 days on market is a true, how many days it's taking to sell a home, still home selling very quickly. An interesting stat I included this month was the percent of the list price to the sold price. That's now at 100%, which doesn't sound that interesting, except for that for the past couple of years, we've been at 104%, 105%. So we've gotten, really where people are offering well over the asking price. We're now seeing homes selling on average at the asking price. Month supply of inventory, you can see we're at 1.5. Happy dance here as an agent, because it just means we just have more real estate activity going on. There's more things kind of starting to come onto the market. It is still at 1.5, very low. But the good news is that is a 66% increase from the beginning of the year. And if we look back at January, we only had 0.7, which means that in basically 0.7 months, we would satisfy all of the buyer needs. That's very quickly. So now we're at 1.5. A good increase. I would expect that number to keep going up. And just to keep it in perspective, back 2017, 2018, 2019, we were between 2 and 3.5 months of inventory. And that kind of feels a little bit still like a seller's market, but a little bit more balanced. We're not seeing kind of crazy things happening in the market with more inventory. So I think we'll continue to see that increase. One of the areas, and I didn't pull this stat, I should have, which would be looking at new construction. I think that's where we're seeing a lot of homes on the market in that new construction area. I think that they're at a higher, they may be closer into kind of the 2 to 3 months of inventory. So I thought that was super interesting. One of the things people are talking about right now is interest rates. That seems to be everyone's buzzword. Interest rates are really messing with everyone and the real estate market. Right now, the good news is the interest rates seem to be kind of floating down a touch. So kind of more in the low 6s. We saw them head up to 7.5. I think it was the highest I saw. But kind of getting back down to the low 6s. What we're seeing the most of right now is that even if you go under contract now, you purchase a home at 6 or 6.5, which everyone thinks feels so high after being used to that, right? That 3%, some of you maybe even under 3%. We will never see probably those interest rates again. 5 to 6, I think, is probably going to be a good rate. We do expect everyone that the experts, I'm not an expert in rates, but everyone I'm speaking to does feel like in the next 12 months, rates will float down maybe back into the 5s. So people will be able to refinance out of some of these higher rates down back to that kind of around that 5%. And this has been the biggest increase in rates we have ever seen in the real estate market in the short amount of time in this past year. So it did kind of wreak havoc a little bit with real estate, lots of just craziness all around with those rates. But again, those rates are kind of in the low 6s now. One of the things that we're finding is that this is one of the best opportunities for our buyers to get into the market. So there is little to no competition. The interest rates aren't crazy, right? In the 6s, that's not a horrible number. And even if that does seem higher to you, we have a lender who's doing a free refi promise, so that when the rates do float down, they're going to refi you absolutely no fee. And what we're finding is we're looking at that difference between what it costs to finance a home today, what it may be in the future as the rates float down. And that difference we're finding is somewhere in that $2,000 to $3,000 that, over the course of maybe this next year, you might pay extra. And so we're turning around and we're asking for sellers for that in closing costs, or a lot of our buyers are willing to accept that difference because they're able to negotiate a lower price on a house. There's no competition, or there's little competition. They're getting better pricing on homes. They're able to get home inspections and kind of get repairs. So really, a little bit of a better opportunity for buyers right now than it might have been 6 months ago. So that's been kind of an interesting, or if I call it a payoff. So the other thing I'll mention too is that as a seller right now, we are still seeing really solid prices. You can see that median price still high. We have lots of areas within Richmond that are still experiencing some kind of multiple offers and higher offers. Again, real estate's so specific to location and area. So we are still seeing areas that are very hot, still very low inventory. So although things are turning and it's an opportunity for buyers, it is still a strong seller's market, which everyone kind of scratches their head on because we've never had this kind of combination of factors before in the market. So technically still a seller's market, a great time to still list your home, a great time to get out and buy a home. We have had lots of buyers go under contract, full inspections, full appraisals, negotiating that offer price, being able to get seller concessions. Where I'm seeing the biggest opportunity right now is with new builds. A lot of builders with lots of new builds on the market, some of them spec homes. They want to sell these homes sometimes before the end of the year. So we're seeing $10,000 to $20,000 in seller concessions and other kinds of goodies, negotiated offers. And so a great opportunity maybe to get something for a better price than you could maybe 3 months from now or 6 months from now. So if you've thought about new builds, this might be your time to give us a call and see if it isn't your time to buy. All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you guys have any more questions about stats, I always love to talk numbers. Feel free to give me a call. Have a great holiday season.